another edition of Main Street Connect's FCIAC Football Fast 5. Everything you need to know about Fairfield County High School football, all in 5 minutes or less. Back with me this week after a week in the dark, former Stamford High School head football coach and professional football scout for JL Sports, Kevin Jones. Kevin, great to have you back. We missed you last week.
It's nice to get the power back on, and it's nice to be back here, that's for sure.
All right, Kevin must be feeling like a proud papa. Stamford knocks off New Canaan, finally hands New Canaan its first loss of the season. What was Stamford able to do differently that other teams hadn't?
Well, I think you have to credit offensive coordinator Reese Lane with sticking with the system. Everything's within the same terminology, but allowing the system to get tweaked a little to allow Brian Bodrick to run the football. And when he gets out in the open, it creates all sorts of matchup issues for whatever defense they're facing. And that's what they did. We can't ignore the fact that they were able to knock out quarterback Matt Milano in the first quarter, and it took New Canaan some time to adjust to that. But certainly, the Black Knights, matchup-wise, all of their speed, they got to the edge, and they created issues for New Canaan all night.
And we also wish Matt Milano a speedy recovery. Concussions are never a light issue to deal with, so all the best to Matt. All right, we got to jump back 2 weeks real quick and talk about Staples Darien in the snow. It was an awesome game. Just what were your impressions of that one?
Hey, there's nothing better than playing in an unexpected snowstorm, especially with two teams that are vying for a place in the championship game. Give Staples a lot of credit. There was a close game, back and forth all game, and in the end they pulled away and were able to really wear down a young Darien team. So give Staples a lot of credit. They deserve to be in that FCIAC championship game after that victory.
The following week, though, the guy who tore it up in that snowball game, Joey Zelkowitz, got hurt this week. Separated shoulder. Does Staples need Zelkowitz as much as New Canaan needs Matt Milano back?
You always want your best players on the field. There's no question about that. But, you know, had Zelkowitz been injured late in the game, we'd be sitting here today saying, what are they going to do? How are they going to win without him? But he wasn't. He was injured early in the game, and they figured out a way to wear out Ward in the second half, and they still won the football game. So I believe that Staples will continue winning until Zelkowitz can get back from this injury.
Question 3, Greenwich's defense was in the zone against McMahon on Saturday. That was the best defensive performance I've seen since week 1. If Greenwich's defense stays hot, will that overcome their somewhat one-dimensional offense?
Well, I look at it this way. We're in November. The championship teams win in November. And how do you win in November in Connecticut? You run the football, shorten the game up, play great defense and special teams. That's the recipe for success. That's what Greenwich does. That's what they've always done for the last 40 years. That's how they win games. So when it gets cold, I look for Greenwich to get even stronger. So I would say yes, that defense, they keep playing the way they're playing, and that is the recipe for success the rest of the way.
All right, question 4. So many teams have huge games on Thanksgiving with playoff implications. Greenwich, Staples, Norwalk, New Canaan, Darien, but have, quote, easy games this week. As a former coach, what do you tell your team to not get them to look ahead like some teams might be doing?
I think the biggest thing is you have to acknowledge the situation. The kids are smart. You can't fool them into thinking that, hey, we're playing a team with 1 or 2 wins at this point in the season, and this is the biggest game of the year. I think you have to acknowledge it and say, look, Thanksgiving Day, we've got a big rivalry. We all want to win. We want that rivalry trophy. We want to brag for the rest of our lives that we beat them on Thanksgiving. And we want to make the playoffs. We want to win a championship. You should want all those things. But none of that's going to happen if we don't take care of business this week. So put all that stuff aside for 3 or 4 days. Concentrate on the task at hand. You got to go 1-0 this week to make Thanksgiving a meaningful game.
All right, once again, that'll bring us to our Main Street Connect Game of the Week this Thursday. That's tonight if you're watching this on the day this launches. Greenwich at Danbury, 7 p.m. We were just talking about easy games, quote-unquote. This isn't exactly an easy game for the Cardinals. They're playing their 3rd game in 11 days. But with the roll Greenwich is on, is there any chance of an upset?
There's always a chance of an upset. This is the FCIAC. It's a great league. You take anybody lightly, they can beat you. Coach Dan Donovan at Danbury has had a little resurgence here with this program. Quietly, they've gone 5-3. He's done a great job. They have tailback James Harrington, 4 touchdowns in the first half against Ludlow last week. So that, again, like Stamford with New Canaan, they can create some matchup problems with their speed getting to the edge. And they can play the role of spoiler. However, Greenwich, like we said before, getting it done with defense and special teams. I wrote them off after they lost to New London. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. But here they are, undefeated in conference play. They're 6-1, and they're playing for a berth in the FCIAC championship game. I think Greenwich has got too much to play for and too much firepower on that defense. They're too disciplined. I like Greenwich in this game. I'm not sure I'm super confident about the pick, but I like them to beat Danbury. They're going to have their hands full, though. It's going to be a great game.
Alright, that'll do it for another week of questions answered in Fairfield County High School football. Tune in next week for our FCIAC Championship preview. Until next time, I'm Eric Gendron.